Lucknow Super Giants, they beat Mumbai Indians by 5 runs, and it was the last over by Mohsin Khan that made the difference. Now, Mumbai needed 11 runs to win in the last over, but Mohsin used his variations of slower balls with Yorkers to stop Tim David and Cameron Green, giving away just 5 runs to help his team get to 2 crucial points. Now, or to get 2 crucial points, and with that now, LSG are in the number 3 spot. Later, he dedicated his match-winning performance to his father, who was in the ICU due to an illness. Now, Mohsin Khan has impressed everybody with his bowling last season, taking 14 wickets in 9 matches at an economy of just 5.97. But soon after, he suffered a serious shoulder injury. He had to undergo surgery for it, which kept him out for the whole year. In fact, he was not fit in the first half of the IPL, but this performance has shown that he has the mental strength to bounce back. I remember very clearly, Kushan, before the T20 World Cup, when Jasprit Bumrah was injured and when there were a lot of injuries, a lot of fast bowlers were injured, and one was wondering where Mohsin Khan was, because we were talking about who could it be, given how well Mohsin bowled in the last edition of the IPL, whether he could have come in. And so now the story comes out. But this is something that players deal with on their own. And, I always say this, when you look at cricketers, Indian cricketers specifically, when you're on a high, everything is going right for you, then you have, people who are constantly praising you, admiring your efforts. But when you're going through your low period in your life, people do tend to forget you. And he was forgotten for a while, right? So just your thoughts on his performance and, the story itself.
Yeah. Now, there are 2 parts to the story. One part is this comeback of Mohsin. Mohsin, last year after the World Cup, I know for a fact that there were selectors. Chetan Sharma's committee had serious thoughts about whether it's Mohsin or whether it's Umran. Umran was a bit more pacier, but Mohsin overall, Umran is no match for Mohsin. And I can stick my neck out, get trolled. Umran is no match for Mohsin. Mohsin Khan has way more control. He can swing the ball. He bowls a mean Yorker. He's tall. He gets disconcerting bounce.
Yes.
So everything made him, and also his economy rate. He can control phases of the match, and he just doesn't bowl that 150 length ball, which after a time, international batsmen of international class and caliber will hit you. They are not bothered. Yes, pace is pace, is a common refrain, but fine. They will get a measure and then they will get 18, 20 runs of you. So Mohsin was this close. And then happened an ankle injury. After that happened an elbow injury.
Yeah.
He had surgeries. And I can say this with some degree of informed opinion that his injury management wasn't great last year. Now, I don't want to get into who all were responsible for it, but his comeback took longer than it should have. Finally, but I would also give credit here to the Lucknow Super Giants management. They kept him, they didn't rule him out, but they said they allowed him to rehab with their team of support staff. He worked with the SLC coaches over there. And finally, he played a match where he was hit. There was a match where he was given 1 over, I think 1 or 2 overs. He didn't complete his spell. And yesterday against Tim David, the thing that Jason Holder couldn't do for RR, he had done it for LSG, and Krunal Pandya comes out as an astute skipper.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that is the difference between a Sanju Samson and a Krunal Pandya. Mohsin Khan executing and a Jason Holder not being able to execute. This is the kind of difference, but that is one part of it. He should have come back much earlier. He was this close. I can tell you with some degree of confidence, he was this close, like inches close to the Indian team last time when the home season was starting and the T20 team. Umran pipped him, but he was this close before that injury happened at the fag end of the IPL. and he couldn't even play the A series against New Zealand and Bangladesh.
Yeah, and so he has yesterday after at the post-match press conference, he's spoken about that period, and he's spoken about the low that he felt, and he's also spoken about how that injury was a very serious injury where his artery was involved, his nerve was involved, and at one point, if he'd not gone earlier to a doctor, his hand would have had to be amputated. So that's how serious.
Yes, there was a big goof up with his med diagnosis. Let me tell you that. I'm not going to get into who goofed it up. There's a big goof up. He could have, his career could have ended me. His career would have ended prematurely. It didn't. God's grace, and Indian cricket is lucky.
And then he ends up and performs like that. So I think Krunal Pandya is right when he said that he's got a big heart, and people with big heart can come back and come back mentally stronger from their setbacks. But that's a wonderful comeback, and that's a wonderful story.